following is the most important? And your answer has to be one amongst these four only. It cannot be a fifth one like idea. So for a startup to succeed, which of the following is the most important? Number one, machine. Number two, manpower. Number three, material. And number four, money. So you can put up your answer in the chat box. And there is another question, which is rank the following in order of importance. So how important are each one of them? You can put them up, number one, number two, number three. What I have shown on the screen is in alphabetical order. So it is not the correct order or the wrong order or the right order. I'm not commenting on that. So have a look at these two questions. First one, for a startup to succeed, which of the following is the most important? Machine, manpower, material, and money. And rank the following in order of importance: customers, employees, investors. So please put in your answers. We'll take it up at towards after a few slides. And I would request Neha or Alka, whoever are there from the side of ICRA, to, if in case you can collate it as to how many percentage of the respondents have given what answer, that would be a big help, which we can take it up after a few slides. So the first step, I start with a quote from Voltaire. The first step which one makes in the world is the one on which depends the rest of our days. So there is a very famous quote which says that today is the first day of the rest of your life. And first step is often the most difficult to take. Whether a person is a infant, toddler, or grown up, going to school, going to college, graduation, post graduation, job, or for that matter, startup or entrepreneurship. It is the most difficult step to take up. So that's why I start with this quote. First step which one makes in the world is the one on which depends the rest of our days. Um, we say that startup starts with an idea, but what is the motivating force? What tempts us, or what rather forces us to go into starting a startup? And I would like to answer that at the next slide, kick in the butt. So this varies for different people. For different persons, the motivation behind the startup is different. I would like to take the liberty to quote, in fact, relate to an instance of a very close friend and ex-colleague of mine. We started our career together around 30 years back in the same company. And I left the company after 5 years. And he continued there. He continued there for more than 20 years in that organization. And of course, he rose up the corporate ladder. He reached the position of vice president, president level. And everything was fine. Everything was going okay, good, in office, at home. And one fine day at the Sunday morning on the breakfast table, his wife commented to him, and she said that, your organization has got a very good tradition, which keeps a person in the job for 25 years. And that tradition is that once 25 years are completed, the person is presented with a Pashmina shawl. So what is your plan like? Are you going to take the Pashmina shawl over in this organization, or do you plan to switch? And that comment was, it was like a kick in the butt for the guy. Of course, he didn't resign the next day. He took up his time. Within 1 month, 2 month time, he set up all the things and he said that enough is enough. I want to start something of my own. I have done enough, as they say it in Hindi, Lala ki Naukri. I would like to start something of my own. So for that person, that was the motivation for going for a startup. For someone else, it can be different. Quite possible there is a young guy after his graduation, post graduation, decides that I would like to start something of my own, and goes into a startup. Or maybe there is a person who has been left with no alternative. Quite possible the person is out of the job, maybe because of the recession or maybe because of any other reason. And after 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months of searching, the person says, okay, fine, job is not coming my way, so let me start something of my own. So different people, depending upon the situation, have got different motivation level to come up with a startup. Um, what do you need to do in order to come up with the startups? The motivation is there, but after that, what is the first step that you need to take? So people say that an idea should be there which is different, and the idea's implementation should be different. All those theories are there. I think the first thing which one needs to remember is that one should distinguish between one's strengths and one's interest. So I'll quote an example. A few months back, one of my mentees approached me, and I was talking to the person, and I asked him. I said that, "What is your interest?" Because let's start with that. What interests you? And the person said that I love cooking. So I said that. So what? So he said that I'm thinking of going into the food business. I'm thinking of starting a small restaurant. I said, very fine. You love cooking. That's great. But please tell me, would you like to cook or supervise cooking in kitchen, of course, uh, for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 of people twice a day or 4 times in a day for the next 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, and all. And that turned the table. He said, oh, no, not at all. I love cooking, but I love cooking for myself, not for others. It's pain in case even some guests come in home and I'm required to go into the kitchen and cook for 8 or 10 people. Forget it. I'm not the person for that. Nor can I tell someone, because if I will tell someone that you cook this way, then might as well I may cook myself. So that's not what I would like to pursue. So there's a difference between what interests you. Somebody's interest may be playing an instrument, quite possibly drum, guitar, maybe even flute, bansuri. But in case we say that that person's strength is playing that instrument and starting coming up with a startup related to that, it will be wrong. Quite possible the cooking part or the playing an instrument part is a good way to unwind oneself, but one needs to distinguish between one's interest and one's strength. So when I say strength, as the next slide says, play on your strength, what we mean to talk about is what are you good at? Different people have different strengths. This, the first example that I have put it, this person over a number of years, because of his job as well as because of his traveling, he had developed wonderful contacts. He was in the tools and equipment business, and he had developed wonderful contacts, thorough contacts. He knew where the manufacturing hubs are. He knew where the suppliers are, distributors are, and he knew where the customers, B2B customers are. So, in all, practically, he had mastered the entire supply chain. It was like the back of his hand that he knew it. And that was his strength. And that's why he decided, he said that I will start a venture, and it will not be a manufacturing startup. No, it will be simply trading. I know where to buy from, whom to feed, and whom to reach. Those are the three things which are in place as far as I am concerned. And I am having full command over there. So that was one. Another person whom I met a couple of years back. The person was in the chemical industry. And similarly, he knew the supply chain part very well. He said very clearly, he said that I have got good contacts. I will tap them, I will reach out to them, and I will start the startup for the distribution of different chemicals which are required for different industries. Now, they knew very well, they had mastered it over a number of years. They were good at it and they encashed upon it. It can be different industry. It can be for that matter textile, it can be fabric, it can be garment, it can be accessories, jewelry, pharmaceuticals, any whichever product. But whatever product, whatever service you are going to deal with, please be very clear that that is your strength, that is your core strength. And I repeat it again, that should be your strength and not your interest. Okay, so at the starting point, and we go to the next one, build up your network. Something very important as far as a startup is concerned, as well as life is concerned. Get in touch with people from different walks of life. We are many a times very judgmental. We have got something like, as we say, stereotypes. So we have divided our mind about our reading about different people. We judge them on certain criteria. And one of the wrong criterias I would like to say is that I'm right and the other person is not right, or maybe wrong, or maybe bad, or maybe absolutely lousy. So I believe, quite possible, people may differ from me, but I believe, except for criminals, people are not good or bad. People are simply different. So accept the people as they are. Get in touch with diversity of people. Different people, they give you different views, and that actually adds on to your number one knowledge level, and number two, your it helps you as far as your startup is concerned. Because just imagine if you keep on meeting people who are just like you again and again and again, actually you are just reinforcing your own self, and you are living in your own world, which actually is not correct. You need to be outgoing extrovert, and extrovert means accepting the people as they are. Today I would, the last presentation at I also mentioned it. I've been fortunate enough by the grace of Almighty that my 29 years or close to 30 years of experience as Mr. Jauhar, who is a senior person from Viva Foods, he mentioned it once. I've been lucky that my 30 years of experience is not 1 year experience repeated 30 times, but 30 different years of experience. I started with something like fabric and garment industry, moved into auto components, and at that point of time, it was a first question that I was asked in the interview was that why you are taking a 180-degree turn from fashion to auto components. Both are different industries. And I still believe that the principles of marketing remain the same. I was in the marketing and sales, and from marketing and sales, I move into something like profit center management. From profit center management, I moved into academics. From academics, it was like teaching undergraduate, postgraduate students, and from that, related to that, I moved into consultancy. From consultancy, moved into training. From training, entrepreneurship, mentorship, writing. So it was all different experiences. And through all different experiences, I met different people. And today, if someone was to say about my strength, then I would say my strength is the kind of the people whom I have met throughout my life. They are actually my strength. They have made me, they have helped me grow and learn. So build up your network, get in touch with people from different walks of life. Up till now, any questions I'll be willing to take. or in case, I hope Ms. Alka, Ms. Neha, there is no problem. People are getting the PPT. There's no issue as far as the sound or the video quality part is concerned. I hope everything is clear. Yes. Should I proceed further? Perfectly fine. So I've got a yes from two or three persons. Please feel free to put in your questions any point of time in case you would like to come up with some question. Please put it up in the chat box. I'll be happy to take it at the end of the presentation. So we move on to the next slide. What we were talking about is building up your network, and related to that, the next one is tap your resources. Those who seek help always get it. So I'll relate to an instance once we talk about tap your resources. Recently, in fact, this month only, a couple of days back, I was in a consultancy group, and it was a small group of 3 or 4 persons who wanted to start an export business, and they were precisely 4 people. So I asked them, I said that any idea about any product? Again, the same thing. What is your strength? So one person said that I know the back end part, the supply chain part of a number of products, and he named those products. So that will be my strength that I can contribute in that area. The other 2 or 3, they were saying, no, we don't know anything about the supply chain part of it. So I asked them a simple question. I said that all 4 of them I asked. I said that all 4 of you, you're having experience of roughly around 25, 30 years in different industries. And now you want to start something of your own in the export side part of it. So how many of you are having any contacts, friends, relatives, acquaintances, people whom you know, whom you have met throughout your life in any of the foreign countries? So this person who was saying the supply chain part of it, he said, sorry, boss, my life has been spent in India. All my relatives are in India. I don't know anybody outside the country. And the other 2 or 3, they started coming up. They said that we know people, we are having contacts, and they can at least give us the basic information. So I prepared small 3 to 4 questions, small queries, not even a questionnaire rather for them. And I said that technology is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful thing which has happened in our life. Precisely the reason because of which we are sitting face to face with each other. So I said just WhatsApp these 3, 4 questions to your relatives outside India. And within half an hour, those questions were sent. And I can recall the countries to which they were sent. They were sent to USA, Canada, UK, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Australia, Zimbabwe, and Sierra Leone. 8 countries. And you won't believe, before the end of the day, replies started coming in from all the 8 countries, from their contacts. And it was the questions were very basic. They were something like any product which is in demand by the Indian community, people in that country, in their neighborhood, in their community, Indian products which are made in India, but which are demanded over there and which are supplied from India. So practically, we are talking about the import part of it, and what exactly is the price that people are ready to pay. And of course, that was the first step. After that, the next step comes that you talk about who are the people who are importing over there, the license part of it. That is the next part. But at least the basic groundwork, the first step, there, the resources of the people, they came in to help. And I'm very sure if somebody approaches you, somebody asks you for some basic information, you'll be able to help. So same way, don't be averse to tap your resources. Quite possible you met someone, maybe somebody at a conference 4 or 5 years back. Go through your visiting card holder. You'll be able to find. A few days back, I found a visiting card of a person whom I met in Malaysia around 5 or 6 years back. And I simply dropped a mail to the person. So reach out to the people, and I'm sure they will get back. They will reply to you. They will be happy to help you. And the only thing is that you need to come up, you need to reach out to them for them to help you, provide you with some information or in any kind of questions. So let's have a quick recap as to what we have done up till now. We started with the two questions. The first one, for a startup to succeed, which of the following is most important? Machine, manpower, material, money. I'm sure people would have put up their answers. If they haven't, please put it up. Ms. Neha, Ms. Alka, in case you could collate, I would just like to have a quick review as to what is the answer to these of the people. And the second is rank the following in order of importance: customers, employees, or investors. So in the first one, the answer is only one. You need to give just the most important, which according to you is the most important thing. And in the second one, it has to be a ranking. After that, we talked about the first step, the famous quotation from Voltaire. Uh, yes, Mr. Phillips, I've seen your reply, money. So Mr. Phillips says money. Similarly, the others, please put in your answer. That would be wonderful. Um, what motivates you to come up with the startup? What is the motivation level? Distinguishing between your strengths and the interest. Play on your strengths. What are you good at? So play at your strengths, but not at your interest. Distinguish between both of them. Build up your network. Get in touch with people from different walks of life. We have done it up till now. Um, Tap your resources also, we have covered it. And now we move to the next stage. I love this quotation. None of us is as strong as all of us. So this, incidentally, quite possibly you may not be liking the way it has been photographed, but I just clicked it from my cell phone, and it is the top of a diary. So I love this quotation, and every day morning when I get up, I see this. It gives me a new hope, a new energy as far as life is concerned. None of us is as strong as all of us, and that brings us to the next step: from one to many. Build up a strong team. The example that I quoted about the venture of the export, the four people who are going in, all the four people, they are having different strengths. So one of them says very good in the supply chain part of it. The other one says I'm very good in the finance or the accounts part of it. The third one says I'm very good in the paperwork documentation part of it. I've been working with companies for the setting up the export business, so let me set up my own one. The fourth one says that I'm a master at quite possible the promotion part of it. So different people have different strengths, and it makes sense to make up a strong team where different people specialize in different areas. So that will be an advantage to you, because all the people together, if they are moving in the same direction but putting in with their strengths, it adds a synergy to the organization. People are familiar with the word synergy, I'm sure. Would somebody quickly like to explain as to what do we mean by synergy? How do you explain it? What is your understanding of synergy? Yes. Any responses? What do you understand by synergy? Anybody? Okay, force required to drive. Okay, perfectly fine. Good for the response. I put up synergy. There has been a lovely movie of the 70s, 80s by the name of Do or Do Panch. So synergy means working together. Perfectly fine. So there was a movie by the name of Do or Do Panch. So of course, it doesn't mean bluffing or cheating or those kinds of things. But what it means is that a single two and another single two, if you put them together, then the sum total is not four. The sum total is five. I'll quote an example for that. Years back, I used to work for a company by the name of Raymond. I started my career with there. And what happened was that, yes, Mr. Augustine has put up wonderfully 1 plus 1 is equal to 11. So, what used to happen was that we used to open the retail store, and Raymond was, as you know, into fabric and garments. And we used to look at markets, and we used to look at markets, we used to look at shops which were having Bata showroom. Because Bata used to sell formal shoes, and it was a simple thing that put up your store next to Bata. So a person who's going for buying shoe, quite possible, very simple thing. A youngster is there preparing to go abroad or preparing for the interview part of it. The person is going for formal shoes. The person comes out, see, oh, shirts, trousers, suits also there. Let me try something over there. Another person is coming, going for shirts, trousers, or suit, comes out, finds, oh, shoes are also there. So both of them, had it been Raymond in one market and Bata in another market, quite possible their sale would have been 2 lakh and 2 lakh rupees. But when they come up together, the total is not 4 lakh, the total is 5 lakh. That is a classic example of synergy. So that's what is required as far as your team is concerned in startup. Now we are talking about when there's a partnership, when people are coming together, quite possible people who are working together. We have got different examples, the Infosys team. We have got different examples in the other areas also that people were working together in a particular organization and they said that, okay, let's start something of our own and they moved. It was a kind of a 4 or 5 people resigning together and chasing their dreams. So that is the example we are putting up over here, building up a strong team. Now we come to a very important part. So my students, many a times they often ask me that, sir, starting one's own business, would like to be our own boss. Very novel idea. We are all set for that, sir. But how to arrange for the finances? And I've put up 4 points over there, starting with the bootstrapping. Number 2, using your credit card very carefully. The second one, I will explain it in detail in the next slide. Third one, loans. And fourth one, of course, we have heard a lot. Angel investors, seed investors, venture capitalists, those kinds of things. So let's start with the bootstrapping. Any inputs? What do we understand by bootstrapping? The term rings a bell to someone. Anybody would like to put in a thought? What do you understand by bootstrapping? Own funds. Oh, wonderful. So the great audience I'm having. Participation is wonderful. It keeps the discussion alive. So bootstrapping, as rightly said by one of the participants, own funds. So I'm going into the bookish definition part of it, but it means that one is relying on one's own resources. So very simple thing, quite possible when you are starting, coming up with a startup. In the initial stage, you say that I don't need a cabin or uh, office on rent. Let me start operating from home only. Let me give my phone number, cell number, nowadays most common. Gone are the days of the landline, MTNL part of it. So easy to use, and quite possible I use my own laptop, easiest thing. And self-service and saving. Augustine has said it very correctly, absolutely. So that's bootstrapping, where you say that I'll be starting using my own resources. I would like to quote an example. Most of the ventures, they start with bootstrapping. And the example which I'm quoting, when I was a student, I was a management student at that point of time, kind of a father figure for all the people, all the management graduates, case studies being written about that person. And even today, very famous, well-known person as far as Indian entrepreneurs are concerned, Mr. Karsan Bhai Patel. I'm sure people must have heard his name, the founder of Nirma. And that is a classic example of how venture started by bootstrapping. The person put in his own resources, and in the backyard of his home in a tin shed, he started manufacturing detergent. And he would put it in poly bags, he would seal it, and those poly bags would go in a box, cardboard box. The cardboard box would go on a cycle, and he himself would cycle around the city, going from door to door, pressing the bell and requesting that there's a new detergent I have prepared. Please try it. And of course, try it after paying an amount because the money has to come in. And that is the stage. Now, at that point of time, this is entirely different from building up a team. This is an entirely different extreme where we are talking about that in the beginning, as we say, the person is himself or herself everything from watchman to chairman. He is fulfilling all the roles, as they say in Sanskrit, yatra tatra sarvatra. He is everywhere. He or she is everywhere. He is doing, he or she is doing everything on his or her own. And that is the starting point of a bootstrapping. Slowly, the business evolves and sales increase. And it is a classic case study, even in business schools, management schools, still today, as to how Nirma was able to give a run for its money to one of the biggest multinationals in the which entered the country 50, 70, 80 years back. So that's how big a bootstrapping business can grow into. It started as a from a tin shed. Today, Nirma is into a multitude of activities. They are having their own, they are into education, they are into FMCG, they are into different areas. So that is the starting point as far as bootstrapping is concerned. So let's not forget about the beginning part as to how it started. Use your credit card very carefully. Now, this is a very important point in your personal as well as professional as well as entrepreneurial life. As we'll be seeing in the next slide, I've put it with the help of an example. It's very tempting to use the credit card for the minimum balance. So I'm sure in my audience, some of the people are there who are from the credit card companies, and I know I'll be panned for saying this, but please do not take loan, do not defer your payment of credit card dues. The reason is very simple. On the outstanding amount, you pay as much as 1.5 to 2% per month. That is something like 18 to 24% interest per annum. Better than that, third stage, please go to a bank. Banks are interested in giving you the loan, and banks are very helpful. Example that I was quoting right at the beginning, the person who was started with the chemical startup, the person says it very clearly that right from the stage of preparing the proposal for the bank themselves, they were helping me. They were kind of hand holding me. One of the situation was that one of the dealers, one of the person's vendors, chemicals were supplied to that person. That person refused to pay money. He won't return the chemical. he won't return the money. He won't pay for the chemicals. And this person was a fix, said it was a huge amount. And he approached the bank. He said that that person is not giving me the funds. And it was all the case. The bank heard him properly. And the bank said, finally, they calculated. They said that, look here, that person is having only 10% of your turnover. So focus on the remaining 90%. You need to sort it out with him, but your outstanding loan with us or your future loan, if you want to take, it will not be affected by this. So, quite possible you reach at a stage where you ask for advance payment part of it that comes later on. But for the time being, focus on the remaining 90%. Don't forget this 10%. Please keep on asking him, keep on reminding him, talk to him because you need to get the money back. At the same point of time, don't get perturbed. And that was the kind of he says it very clearly. Of course, I will not be naming the bank. I'm not here for publicizing any particular brand. But he said it very clearly. He said that the kind of the hand holding which that bank gave me, it was a new encouragement, and from strength to strength, I grew after that. And slowly, within a period of 2 or 3 years, the person gave the money, and everything was back to normal. So, approach in case you have to go for a loan or for a waiver or for a deferred payment, please do not rely on a credit card, on your credit card, or you should rely on the credit card that I will show you in the next slide. It can be used very creatively, constructively to your advantage. So for the loan, of course, go to banks. There are different institutions also. And the last stage, of course, is once you go on a national, international level, then we all have heard about these names, angel investors, seed investors, VC, venture capitalists. They come to your help. They are all there to help you, but you need to come up with a convincing, proper plan to them. So by this time, by your experiences with the banks, by your own bootstrapping, you would have learned a lot, and you will be able to approach this stage of angel investors, seed investors, or VC. Um, Yes, this was the example I was quoting. Now, the top 5 lines, they are received in your credit card statement on a monthly basis. So we have got the statement due 25th May 2020. There's an actual credit card statement. Of course, the figures have been concocted. So statement due date 25th May 2020. The next is minimum amount due 15,000 rupees. Now, this I have highlighted in red, meaning that don't get caught in this debt trap. This is a very, very, very dangerous debt trap. They would like to attract you by this minimum amount due of 15,000 rupees, that you pay 15,000 rupees right now. And what is the total amount due? 3 lakh rupees. So forget about the 2,85,000. You can have it in EMIs. There are a lot of I'm sure you keep on getting phone calls from the credit card companies. Please do not get attracted by it, because what you are not paying on that, you will be paying an interest of 18 to 24% per annum, which can topsy-turvy your finances like anything. So don't, that's why I've highlighted in red. Please do not go for the minimum amount due. Go for two things. Number one, remember to pay by 12 June 2020. There's a gap of 2.5 weeks from 25th May to 12th of June. They are giving you 2.5 weeks to make your payment of 3 lakh rupees. And the last amount, total outstanding, 3 lakh rupees. So try to make that payment in 2.5 weeks, but you can go, because this 2.5 weeks is absolutely interest free. You can increase this interest-free period like anything. And that's what I have put it up. If you make a purchase on 24th May, that is one day before the statement date, You will be required to pay the amount by 12th June, which is mentioned over there, after 2.5 weeks. But if you make the same purchase on 25th May, that is the day of the statement, then you will get one more month of interest-free credit, as that amount will be required to be paid by 12th of July after 7 weeks. So, very simple thing, this 3 lakh rupees, quite possible the person has spent on buying a furniture or buying the inventory or buying the merchandise for his or her business. In case the next 3 lakh rupees are spent on 25th of May, then the person gets 7 weeks of interest-free credit. And quite possible, if that's a merchandise which can be sold in the next 1 month, then practically the person is not spending anything from his or her pocket. The person is simply making the payment by credit card in the interest-free period of 7 weeks, disposing it off, of course, at a profit, and then making that payment to the credit card company. So this is how you can use the credit card to your advantage. So as I have mentioned, plan your purchase to plan your finances. Very important thing. So we have done it up till now. Yeah, last recap was build up your network part of it. Then we talked about tap your resources, and we talked about from one to many, building up a strong team. And then we talked about the finances, which includes bootstrapping, credit card management, loans, angel investors, seed investors, and venture capitalists. Um, we now move to more macro level concepts. The main role of startups to increase economic growth. There are 4 points. I'm not going to explain them. I have mentioned the source at the bottom of it. So all of you, if you want, you can have a look at the source. You can click on the source. You can go to it, and the details are mentioned over there. But very simple thing. There are 4 points: creating more jobs. So certainly, we quote the example of Mr. Karsanbhai Patel, the job in which he was. In case he would have remained in that job, then it would have been only he as an employee. But after starting the detergent business, Nirma factory, Nirma education, and the other ventures, he created jobs for a whole lot of other people. In as a return of that, of course, he created wealth for himself as well as for others. Because in case he's selecting the people from competitors, from other industry, other companies, then he's giving them a better salary, better standard of living. That is the next point. And finally, of course, everything it is being added to the GDP, gross domestic product of the country. That's how the economy benefits as far as the startups are concerned. Next one, another macro level slide. Benefits being given to entrepreneurs establishing startups. There are 11 points. Again, the source is mentioned at the bottom of the slide. So I'm not going to explain them. Just 2 or 3 points which I have mentioned over there. Easy access to funds. A little bit of number crunching. 10,000 crore rupee fund is set up by government to provide funds to the startups as venture capital. The government is also giving guarantee to the lenders to encourage banks and other financial institutions for providing venture capital. And the another one is apply for tenders. Startups can apply for government tenders. They are exempted from the prior experience turnover criteria applicable for normal companies answering to government tenders. The other points I request you, please have a look at it at the mentioned link. The details are mentioned over there. That's why I'm not spending time in explaining them. Yes, very important point, catching them young. As I was saying, some of the students approached me, they talk about the startup part of it. My institution, BULMIM, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's Usha and Lakshmi Mittal Institute of Management, Delhi, it took up the initiative of hosting the Incubation and Startup Center Congress in December 2019. It was brought in with the help from SPTBI, Sardar Patel Technology Business Incubator, and Envision 360, both from Mumbai. And it was addressed by senior dignitaries from Invest India, NITI Aayog, ISS STEP, Hunch Ventures, Thai Global, SPTBI, Saga, India Accelerator, Let's Venture, India Advisors, and many others. And it was well attended not only by the BULMIM students, but students and faculty members from other institutes. So it was a kind of baby steps for the students, because many of the students, they are very interested, very much interested in the startup, but they don't know who to approach. So this was a step in the right direction by Bullman, where they bring in the different people concerned on the common platform so that the students can benefit from their learnings. Uh, Very important point. I've saved it to the towards the end of the presentation. Be prepared for surprises, failures, setbacks. Take them with a pinch of salt. So I think the recent phenomenon is everyone is aware about it, whether it is the corona, COVID, or lockdown, or the situation which is coming up. Uh, all the people who are, as far as the entrepreneurship is concerned, they are facing a tough time. And in these times, I remember someone, I met an entrepreneur. He was having his own shop, rather, auto components in Varanasi. This was the time of somewhere around 1994, and it was a time of recession. Recession was setting in, and every counter I used to go. I'm sorry, 1996, 97, around that time, 96 to 98. Every counter I would go, people would be saying, "Oh, the manda chal raha hai." So once I asked him, he was 80-year-old guy, and he had been in business for 50 years. I asked him, I said that, what do you say? Manda manda chal raha hai? So he was, of course, he was a Sardar. So I'm not very good in Punjabi, so I will translate it in English. I know it will lose its meaning. He said that 1945, after the partition, before the partition rather, I came to Varanasi with my family. Started a khoka, small shop, and for 2 years we were managing it. We were just getting up. And during that time, 47 partition was there, unrest was there, riots was there, and practically everything came to a standstill. And we again got up, we recovered again for long 30, 40 years, 30 years rather. Everything was fine. Then in the mid 80s, again there were riots, and practically I lost everything. And again, 2 or 3 years struggle, we again came back. So he said that I have seen those times that now nothing surprises me, because I know even this will pass away, as the famous quote goes. So of course, I translated it into from Punjabi into Hindi and English, beg your pardon. So the crux of the matter is very simple: that you need to pull up your socks. You need to wait up for the time to pass by. Good things, of course, will return back again. Take them with a pinch of salt. I often put up a quote on the WhatsApp group. So once I put up, "Today morning, how you are feeling?" It was a question which I had put up in the different groups. And one of my very close friends, an entrepreneur, replied back. He said, "I'm feeling wonderful because today, in 10 years of my entrepreneurship, this is the first month in March where my sale is equal to the sale of Maruti Suzuki." So that is the way you take it up. It's quite possible, a kind of sense of humor, and situation is bad for everyone. We all know it. But we need to wait. We need to wait for a few months, maybe a year. And of course, things will be better because as I was reading somewhere, they say it very clearly that the batch which is joining, the batch of students which is joining right now, 2020, they are actually going to have the best of the times because by the time they come out for an internship in 2021 and for jobs in 2022, everything will be gone because it is only a matter of months, at the most a year. So just come to think of the opportunities which are waiting for these students who are joining their post graduation right now. Uh, Finally, I would like to close in with one famous line. I love this movie, Rocket Singh Salesman of the Year. And towards the end, in the climax, there's a dialogue by the character of Mr. Puri, who is the anti-hero in the movie. And why that dialogue is very important is because I mentioned it, talk to your family members before taking the plunge. People have different opinions. People say, people think that it's my decision. I'm taking a decision of starting a startup. Why should I consult my family? But believe me, whether you are a bachelor or whether you are married, family gets involved. I have quoted it in Hindi English over there. तब जाके एक company बनती है. I was not able to find that video clip. Very hard to find because I think YRF Yash Raj Films, they have not given the rights, so it is not freely available on Google. The dialogue goes like this: घर दफ्तर बन जाता है, बिस्तर टेबल, रात दिन, लंच, ब्रेकफास्ट, डिनर, बीवी, बच्चे सब पीछे छूट जाते हैं, तब जाके एक कंपनी बनती है. That is the reality. And I am very sure that all the people who are entrepreneurs and who are the budding entrepreneurs, they should be aware about this fact. It's very easy to say, let's start something of our own, but be ready to make the sacrifices. It has to be a family decision. It cannot be a decision by your own self. So speak to your family members, take their opinion, take them along with you because they have to support you in case you have to succeed in your starting. Okay, now we move to the two questions. Before we close, yeah, first of all, of course, let me thank you first before we close for the sessions. You may reach me at my email ID or my WordPress blog or LinkedIn. And now, can we have a look at the answers to the two questions? Neha, Alka, have you been able to collate anything? How many people gave the answer to the first one, which came as the topper? Men, material, and of course, I'm not being sexist. When I say manpower, it means human resources, not only manpower, but of course, all the sexes included in that. So, which has been? Anish Kumar says manpower. I saw money also. Okay, so let me give the answer. Very simple thing. Human being are the most important. People always have this debate. Whenever I throw open this question in the session, the group gets divided into two. One group says manpower, human resources. The other one says money. And the people who says money, they say that what will the man do if the money is not there? And the other group says that what will the money do if the man is not there to use it? But to my mind, money is useless if there is a human being to put it to a common use. It's the same 1 rupee, somebody uses it, another person donates it, third person makes 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 100 rupee out of it. So the same money, when it goes into the hands of different people, it behaves differently. That's why, to my mind, human being is the most important. The second question, ranking part of it, can we get some ranking? Customers first, second, third. Who are the most important, second most important, and third most important? Uh, can we have some answers? Employee and customer. Okay, fine. So Sridhar says investment, employee, and customer. Okay, so the first one investment, second one investors, second one employees, and third one customers. Okay, yeah. Anyone disagreeing or having a different opinion? Yeah, we have got another answer. I think investment, employees, customers. Okay, same. Okay. Okay, we have got answer from Augustine. Customers most important, then investors, then employees. So I will just close with a very lovely example by Philip Kotler. I still consider him to be the father of marketing. Lot of books, lot of authors have written, but the way he explains, I have not seen a better author in marketing compared to him. So I take a quote from him. He says it very clearly. He says that usually people say that customer is the most important, and because he brings in the profit. Investor is the next most important because he brings in the capital, and then comes the employee because of course employee you have to maintain, you can maintain, you will give him salary, him or her salary, and they will work. But employee you can change. Customers, very difficult if one goes to catch. So Kotler has a completely different view on this. What he says is that the most important is the employee. Then comes the customers, and then comes the investors. And he says a very simple logic. He says happy employees bring in happy customers, and happy customers in turn bring in happy investors, because investment is looking for return, profit, and that comes when the sales are there. Sales is given by the customer, and the customer is happy because the employees are happy. I'll not be naming the retail store, but I'm sure you must have been to some of the retail stores where a customer walks in, you walk in as a customer, and you see in a particular corner two or three or four employees yapping happily amongst themselves, and they are least bothered that the customer is there. Even if the customer looks for help, actually the customer has to ask that, excuse me, can you please help me? And then the very reluctantly the salespeople come. What is the reputation of that kind of a store? The reputation is simple, that the employees are not very happy. Why they are not happy? Of course, the store has to take a look at it. So this is for your startup to keep in mind, that keep your employees happy so that they keep the customers happy, and in turn the investors are happy. With this, I close the presentation. In case of any queries, right now I think we have overshot the time. Time has gone for more than 1 hour. Yeah. Yes, Neha or Alka, do we have some time for any questions? Or people can contact me at this email ID or by my LinkedIn. I'll be sharing the PPT. There have been some requests. So the PPT has been shared with Alka. I'm sure she'll be able to forward it to all of you. You can have access it, and of course, feel free. Please, you can write to me. You can approach me any point of time. It will be a pleasure to interact. It will be a pleasure to get in touch with you. And I take this opportunity to thank ICRA, Mr. Shima, Ms. Neha, Ms. Alka for giving this opportunity and support. Big thanks to ICRA, All India Council for Robotics and Automation, and look forward to be in touch with all of you again. It was a pleasure being in touch with you all, such interactive group participants. Thanks a lot for being a wonderful audience. Ms. Alka, Ms. Neha, would you like to close or should we wait for some questions? Oh, wonderful. I've got a question. Sushmita, what is the future of healthcare startup? Um, I would say as on date, there are two things which are very important. One is the healthcare and the other one is the education. So as on date, the future is very bright for the coming times. But I always say it. People ask me many a times. They say that सर किस इंडस्ट्री में स्कोप सबसे ज्यादा है एंड माय सिंपल आंसर इज व्हिच आई हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड स्कोप अलग अलग इंडस्ट्रीज में है प्लीज लुक एट योर स्ट्रेंथ्स प्लीज फोकस एट योर स्ट्रेंथ्स what is it how it is that you can come up with something which is different from the others. I was in a webinar yesterday, and I must give credit to the participants, Mr. Subroto Siddhant and Ms. Mosmi Ambastha. Both of them, they gave wonderful insights. And the crux of the matter is very simple, that you need to have an idea, number one. You need to implement that idea in a better way than the others. So don't bother about the industry part of it because industry keeps on changing. Today, healthcare and education, they are much in demand. FMCG, also for that matter, related one. But do not forget that after 1 year, 1.5, 2 years, it will be changing when the economy will be more opening up and more opportunities will be there. So will it be that you will be changing the line at that point of time? So play on your strength, identify your strength, what you are good at, your supply chain management, your knowledge. What is it that you are good at, which you can come up with? Another question, Gagan, what is your take on renewable energy startups? Um, I would say the times to come, we are moving to a stage, whether it is the electronic or for that matter, we are depending a lot within the automobiles part of it. We are moving to a stage where the renewable energy is going to be in demand. At the same point of time, one needs to keep in mind that it is a huge investment and the returns will not come very fast. So it is a kind of, I'm not, of course, scaring anyone. At the same point of time, you need to look at the gestation period part of it. That has to be kept in mind. We've got something, Mr. Sridhar, after serving for 25 years in steel industry, I quit for social entrepreneur, supporting employees for children and parents. Wonderful, wonderful. Full credit to you, sir. Sushmita Das, I want to be involved in the healthcare related robotics projects. We will certainly keep it in mind. I'm sure Neha and Alka, they are taking a note of it. Of course, it would be a pleasure to be in touch with you. Yes, Ms. Alka, Ms. Neha, would you like to take over?
Sir, this is Alka. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs, and definitely we have got all the distinct recorded recordings that whatever queries and which needs to be addressed later on also. So we will definitely follow up with them, and we will do the needful with everyone who has participated. Thank you so much for
Certainly.
your valuable time, and I would like to thank audience also for sparing their time and attending the session. Thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you very much.
Same
Thanks a
here,
lot.
sir. We can wind
Have a
up the
good
session
day.
now. Thank you. Same to you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, you can please end the session, sir.
Yes, I'm ending.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.